Well, this is a good sign. Navia looks extremely promising. So, if you didn't already know this, her kit is released, and there's actual footage of her already. I'm sure most of you have already seen this. But we're going to be going over her kit, simplifying it, breaking it down. What does she do exactly? How does it work? Just stuff that she might work well with. Now, obviously take these videos with a grain of salt, because Hoyoverse can pull a trap card at any time, switch her numbers up, do anything. So take this with a grain of salt. But luckily for all of us, this looks really good. Will she save the Geo element? The fact that she works with multi-element teams and scales off attack alone is promising in itself. And I don't know why, you probably hear Lon Lon Ranch playing in the background. I don't know why, but this song makes me think of Navia. Yeah, I don't know why, but it does. Anyways, so let's go over what she does. Right off the bat, her being a Geo Claymore user was a little bit of a disappointment to me, but that quickly changed when I saw her gameplay. So she basically uses her umbrella, and her umbrella is a mechanical umbrella that can turn into a giant axe. Yes, she wields a giant axe with the absolute most grace you've ever seen. Her attack animations, and this isn't a stretch to say that they're probably the best I've ever seen in Genshin Impact. Now, I'm not going to be showing footage. I've done that, been there, done that. That's why I got a new channel, guys. So I'm not going to be showing gameplay footage, but it's out there if you want to check it out. So yeah, she swings around an axe that's actually her umbrella, and it looks clean as hell. That's the only way I can put it. For her skill, that same umbrella can be turned into like a shotgun or a gun, and she could shoot shards. Now, how exactly this works, you can either tap or aim and shoot. So she basically has a gun. Her umbrella is both an axe claymore and a gun. I can't wait to see what her signature weapon looks like, but when you create an elemental reaction with Geo, as you all know, you create these crystal shards. Now you can collect these. And you can collect up to 6 of these shards at a time, and these shards will convert into 11 total shots. If all 11 shots hit the opponent or whoever you're fighting, then it will do 200 times the original damage on that 11th shot. Essentially, 6 shards you pick off the ground turns into 11 shots. Now you can either aim or tap. If you consume 3 shards simultaneously, this will increase the damage by 15% as well. The cooldown for her skill is only 9 seconds, so that's not bad. Her burst is firing cannons that rain down area of effect Geo damage, sort of like Ganyu or Ayato, but with Geo. This lasts 12 seconds and the cooldown is 15 seconds with 60 energy. That's actually pretty amazing. So there's only 3 seconds. She's almost got 100% uptime on her burst, and 60 energy is not that much. Her burst will also generate shards for you to shoot, and this will happen every 2.4 seconds. And keep in mind, she scales off of attack. And for her first passive, for every 4 seconds you use your skill, so that charged or tap attack, basically her shotgun move, not her burst, her regular damage, just her regular attacks, will be converted into Geo damage, and this cannot be overridden. That's actually very, very good. This will also increase your normal charge and plunging attack damage by 40%, which is looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I don't want to jump the gun, but that looks pretty good. And for her next passive, for every different element on the team that you have, for example, Electro, Pyro, Cryo, or Hydro, doesn't say nothing about Anemo or Dendros, unfortunately, but you can't react with those anyway, she gains 20% more attack. This effect can stack up to 2 times. Now, I'm not sure if you get 20% per other element, or if you have to have all 4 of those, and each is 20%. So for example, Pyro alone is 20%, so you could get up to 60% if you have 3 different elements. I don't know how that's gonna work in theory, so let's be realistic and say that 20% times 2, if you stack twice for 40%. If it ends up being more, then great, which it might be. But I'm not getting my hopes up. That sounds ridiculously good. Now, I'm not going to break down her constellations too much, because good news, she doesn't seem super constellation dependent. But basically, to summarize in simple terms, her first constellation basically gives her more energy for using her skill, and it decreases her burst cooldown, which honestly aren't really an issue to begin with to me, so I don't think that's really worth spending another over $100 potentially for a constellation. Her second constellation just increases the crit of her skill by 8% and can be accumulated up to 24%, so 24% crit rate total. And additionally, you know how her burst uses cannon fire and rains down Geo? Well, if you hit someone with your charge attack from your skill, 1 shard of Geo burst damage will fly down from the sky and hit them, more or less. And that'll be converted into burst damage, obviously. So you can have like a free little hit from the sky at C2. Her C4, essentially when you use her burst, the opponent's resistance to Geo will be decreased by 20% for 8 seconds. Her C6, basically, we talked earlier about how if she consumes 3 shards at a time, she has 6 she can hold, she consumes 3 at a time, then 15% extra damage. Well, C4 just basically increases your crit damage percentage by 35% if you do the same method. I don't really like to emphasize too much on Constellations because I think they're a trap and a scam in my opinion, but that's just my opinion, and she doesn't seem very Constellation dependent. I think she looks very good at C0. To be honest, I think if you really wanted to spend the extra money, her weapon's probably going to look badass, probably going to be like an umbrella claymore. Like, if you guys haven't seen her gameplay, you gotta go check it out. It looks so good. And if you don't want to be spoiled, well, then I'd be confused why you're watching this video, but hey, to each their own. Now, how will she actually look? See, people like to make these outlandish claims. Like, I had people already tell me Farina and Charlotte were going to be trash or awful before they were released because I made some videos about them. People don't understand that before a character's out and tested and you see them in the field in real time, it's really hard to take what you read on paper and see how that'll actually implement. Now, obviously, you can make really good educated guesses, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you she's going to save Geo. You know, she has the potential to, though, and she looks promising. And another promising factor, this could be good or bad how you see it, is that power creep tends to be more of a relevant thing in today's Genshin. We're seeing that with Nouvellette, Farina. Now, if Navia is power creeping all the old Geos, I mean, is that necessarily a bad thing? Geo does need the improvement. They have only 2 options: power creep or make Navia very just meh, and people are gonna not like that. So yeah, power creep Geo, go for it. And that's one good sign that Fontaine characters have all been pretty good. Even Lene was pretty good. Risley's still good. He's very good, like if you build him correctly. He's not like game breaking, but all Fontaine characters have been solid, so I'm not worried about Navia being bad. And this is even more promising, at least to me, because my priorities, she looks super fun. Besides her animations looking clean, she looks like she's gonna be a very fun character to use. She's got her cool skill that shoots a gun, her claymore looks smooth, and her burst looks like a ton of fun too. And she's meant to be played on multi-element teams. So with that said, you know, there's a lot of different options you can run. Personally, I already plan on running her with Kokomi with Thrilling Tales Dragon Slayer because you get a 50% or 48% attack buff from that, and she scales off of attack. Bennett, because with her skill, she can convert her own regular damage into Geo, and it can't be overridden. So you'll get a lot of attack buffs just from those 2 characters right there. Maybe throw in Cookie Shinobu for some, like, elemental reactions and some healing and some just constant crystallization with her electro skill. Like, there's a lot of different characters. That's just off the top of my head. I think she'll blend well with a lot of different team comps that you could run, that characters that you already have. I think she'll be very versatile and very solid even in the Abyss and meta. So with that said, there's not much more we can dissect right now because it's still very early on, but it does look very promising. Extremely promising, actually. For the Geo element especially, that's been underwhelming. Could she save Geo? I don't know about save, because Geo still needs a lot of work, but she could definitely revive it a bit. 100%. Just from her aesthetic alone and her gameplay, definitely. I don't see that being an issue at all. So, I guess only time will tell. We just have to wait and see when she comes out, but I'm definitely excited to pull for this character. I'm probably going to pull for a weapon too, and I do not pull for weapons. So, that should tell you something. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're going to hold out or if you're actually going to pull for Navia, if you've been saving for her. Feel free to smash that like button. It helps me get back into the algorithm. I really appreciate you guys watching this far. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.